Hi guys, we warmly welcome you all to the Thai Tech MSA YouTube channel. Today we're gonna talk about Scratch programming. Simply in this video, we're going to introduce you about Scratch programming. So we hope you enjoy this video, and if you like this video, please give us a like and don't forget to subscribe us. If you have a problem or if you want to contact us, you can contact us from the Twitter page, from our Facebook page, from our website, and from the comment section below. So, let's do it. So, guys, as I told you, today we're gonna talk about Scratch programming. Scratch is a visual programming language and it is specially designed for children to understand the programming concept. So it helps in increasing the creativity and thinking of children as well as adults. So by using Scratch programming, we able to make games, stories, animations, as well as small dialogues. So there are two ways that we can engage in Scratch programming, which are by using the online editor and by downloading the software or app. So if we want to download the Scratch apps, we have to go to the Scratch official website. So from that we able to download the suitable versions as well as possible. So we can download the Scratch apps not only to Mac and Windows operating system but also to Chrome and Android operating systems. So if you want to use the online editor, you have to go to the Scratch official website as well as downloading the app. So in this video, we going to do some programming and we are going to compare the different between two versions of Scratch desktop. Hence, I'm using a laptop which is with Windows operating system. I have to use the Scratch desktop app which is designed for Windows operating system. So as I told you earlier, there were two different versions of Scratch in my laptop. So they are, the first one is Scratch 3.9, which is the newest version of Scratch programming, and other is Scratch 2 offline editor, which is a pretty old Scratch programming software. So let's do it. So from the two versions I had in my computer, first I'm going to program in Scratch 3.9 version, which is the newest version, because actually guys, I'm not friendly with the controls of the Scratch 2 offline editor, but don't be afraid because we are going to code in Scratch 2 offline editor also in this video. So when we move into the Scratch programmer, you can see that there are main parts like stage, sprite, code, costumes, and sounds. So actually, the most essential part for making a program in Scratch is the sprites and stage. Stage, which is commonly known as backdrop, is the background of this uh, program, and the sprite, which is known as an icon or a character in the programming. So we have to select by clicking on the sprite or stage like this, and then by that we have to code the sprite or backdrop from these blocks. You can see that we can uh, code or program by switching these blocks each other from this code icon. Then we can change the costumes of this sprite, and we can add sounds to the scratch program. You can see like that. So first of all, from this upper column or bar of this sprite, we can change it size, direction, like this, direction, axis, and name, as well as make that sprite visible or invisible. So then we have to learn to get a new backdrop or a sprite. Uh, there's another thing. We can delete this sprite by clicking the delete icon on the sprite. So we have to, we should choose a sprite or the backdrop by using these two icons. If we want to choose a sprite, we have to click on this icon, and if we want to select a new backdrop, we have to click on this icon. From that icon, we can choose a sprite, paint the sprite, or we can get a surprise sprite, or upload a sprite to the program software. As same as like that, we can select a backdrop, paint a backdrop, or get a surprise backdrop, as well as upload a backdrop. So I'm going to choose a sprite. Oh, now you can see there are a lot of sprite in the software, and they are categorized under the topics like goals, animals, people, fantasy, dance, music, sports, food, fashion, and letters. So I'm selecting this Avery walking sprite, and I wanna select a backdrop, commonly stage. Then, as same as like the sprites, backdrops also categorized under the topics like all fantasy, music, sports, outdoors, indoors, space, underwater, and patterns. So I'm selecting this blue sky backdrop, and I want to uh, minimize or reduce the size of this sprite. Then I should uh, reduce the size by applying the numbers like this. I'm reducing to 89, so you can see clearly that the sprite size is reducing. Yeah, and we can change the direction of it like this. So that's enough about changing the direction. So I'm renaming the sprite as Avery, Avery first. Sorry. So then I want to move this Avery. No, I want to change the position of this Avery in the uh, uh, same place. So the first thing is we have to run the code as an event. So we can run the code when we click this flag icon, or when we click the space or arrow keys, when the relevant sprite clicked, when the backdrop switched to when another backdrop, or when loudness increase or decrease, when or when I receive a message or broadcasting a message like that. So I'm selecting the event as when flag icon was clicked. So I want to change the position or movement or motion, or I want to change the look of this sprite as moving. So in the same position. I want to select this switch costume to Avery walk in D. Avery 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and D. Then I'm clicking this flag icon, but it doesn't showing any movement or changing their look, because I had done a fault in this thing. You can see clearly that there's no time between these changing costumes. So when it is no time, then it is instantly changing its costume. So as a result of that, we can see the uh, switching costume. So we have to add a time from the control icon. And I'm going to add time as 0.5 seconds. So you can see that I'm applying this time between two costumes. Then we can see the change of look clearly. Yeah, it happened. But it stopped after running this code. But think like this, I wanna do this thing forever. So I want to repeat this thing again and again. So then we have to put this repeat icon block or forever block to this sprite. So I want to repeat it again and again without stopping any time. So because of that, I'm applying forever block as like this. Then you can see when we click on the flag icon, every repeat his motion again and again. So that's enough about costume. Then I'm moving to the sound. So just I wanna uh, add a sound pop whenever moving. So I'm adding this pop sound before changing the costume. You can see that then he's changing his costume while emitting the pop sound. So if we want, we can upload a sound and use it instead of pop sound like this. So I wanna just stop it because it is repeating. So I want you can stop the program by clicking this stop icon. So I'm going to add another sprite. I'm selecting the common sprite for the most popular sprite in Scratch, the cat. But I'm not satisfied with the size of the cat. So because of that, I'm reducing the size of cat. 60. Yeah, that's possible. So as same as like the Avery, I want to start the motion of the cat when the flag icon was clicked. And I want to repeat it again and again. So I'm adding this forever block. Starts. Then I want to add the sound forever when the cat is walking. So I want to add the start sound here, but uh, I just not add the sound command to stop the sound. So then uh, you can see that there's a huge noise because I doesn't stop, but that's a little bit uh, harassing. So then there's another thing I forget to tell you about how to delete a block. So if you want to delete a block, you have to right click on it, and there's a three options: duplicate, add comment, or delete the block. So you can delete it like that. So play sound meow until done. It is emitting the sound meow without stopping any time. So I'm adding a time between the meow sound. Yeah. Then you can see the cat is repeating his meow sound within a time. So that's our first program. I hope you get a knowledge about the programming by using 3.9. So I'm showing you a project or program which I made earlier uh, by loading it. Before that, I have to inform you that there are few more tutorials in the Scratch desktop software that we can use them offline. So you can get the tutorials by clicking the tutorial icon in the Scratch 3.9, but you have to get that the tutorial icon is available only in the Scratch 3.9, the newest version. So there are few more tutorials like this. You can make your own program by using or by getting these tutorials. So then I'm going to load my old program which is made by me. So I'm going to load it. It is a dancing thing like a concert. Sorry. So it's loading. So then it's loaded. Then this every guy is singing in this concert, and these three sorry 1 2 3 4 5 guys are dancing according to that music. Watch it. Dancing now, singing like girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody. My God, that's enough about that. I hope to add this file, programming file, to the uh, introduction or description of my video, so you can get that code and write that or run that code in your Scratch software. So you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 costumes or sprites in this video or program, yeah, including this mic icon. So then we are going to compare the different between this Scratch 3.9 version and Scratch 2 offline editor. Here is the Scratch 3.9 version. Sorry. So wait a minute until I open that Scratch 2 offline editor. It is little bit slow than the Scratch uh, 3.9 because it is a bit, as I told you, uh, because it is a little bit old version of Scratch. So yeah, it opened. Then you can see the different between Scratch 2 offline editor and Scratch 3.9 editor. So here we have to run the code here, and in Scratch 2 offline editor we have to run the code here. Then if we want to add a new or choose a new sprite, we have to click on this icon to choose a new sprite and Scratch 2 offline editor. Then you can see some sprites are in the sprite library of Scratch 2 offline editor. So they are also categorized under the titles like all animals, fantasy, letters, people, things, transportation, and by the theme like castle, city, dance, dress up, flying, holiday, music, space, sports, underwater, and walking. Enough about sprites and cancel. So then here, as same as like that, we can uh, made the code by using this Scratch 2 offline editor, and to paint the or to edit the sprite we have to click on the sprite and click on this paint icon. Then you can see that the sprite can make or paint or create a new sprite by using this thing. So like this. So then you can see that I have to delete that sprite because it's abolishing this whole thing. So to delete the sprite, we have to uh, click this, get this delete icon to this, and delete the sprite. None of like Scratch 3.9 editor. So if we have to duplicate the sprite, we have to get this seal icon and duplicate it like this. So if you want to grow the sprite or maximize the size of the sprite, you have to get that icon and large the sprite as like this. So if you want to shrink or reduce the size of the sprite, you can do it like this in Scratch 2 offline editor. None of like Scratch 3.9. So then you can get an idea about Scratch 2 offline editor is different from Scratch 3.9 editor, but that's not totally different. Normally a little bit, there's a little bit difference between Scratch 2 offline editor and Scratch 3.9. So then you can see the difference clearly, but the code doesn't change. You can see that there is more there's a simple difference between the blocks of these two versions. There's no pen category of blocks in the Scratch 3.9, but there is a category called pen in the Scratch 2 offline editor. As same as like that, uh, there's a category called my blocks in Scratch 3.9, but there is no category like my block in Scratch 2 offline editor. Instead of that, my block in Scratch 2 offline editor, there is a category called data instead of category my blocks in Scratch 3.9. So you can see that there is no tutorials in this uh, uh, this Scratch version, but there's a called there's a thing called tips, as same as like the tutorials. So like this. So that will help to make a program for the beginners like me. Actually, I also a beginner for Scratch 2 offline editor. So if you want to get a new backdrop, you have to click on this, and there are a lot of backdrops under some categories like this, as same as like the Scratch 3.9 editor. So that's enough about the comparing. So let's make a simple code in the Scratch 2 offline editors. So I'm gonna select a new sprite, but I'm going to select an animal like that one. Okay, and it is same as like that. We have to uh, get event first of all, event, and I'm controlling it to forever, and wait 1 second, sorry. I'm changing. I suppose that I'm going to change it to 0.5. So then looks like switch costume to that 1B. Then I'm duplicating that too. That day. Then let's run that code by clicking the flag icon. Then you can see that is changing to its second position, and changing its motion forever because I added the forever block to this. So it's a simple code in Scratch 2 offline editor. So I suppose that uh, it that's enough for the introduction for Scratch. And so